Will a combination of bad launch timing and excessive pricing sink the Galaxy S21 series before it even gets started? That was one of my first thoughts when European pricing for the three S21 phones leaked this past week, showing that despite rumours of cheaper Galaxies this time around, we are once again looking at some pretty pricey flagship phones. Also, because the euro-dollar exchange rate is pretty close to the sales tax rate in most EU countries, you can probably just change the currency sign here and you'll get pretty close to the advertised US prices. The new phones are launching in January, reportedly the 14th, which is way earlier than previous Galaxies. On one hand, that's great for Samsung because it means its new phones arrive in stores only a couple months after the iPhone 12 Pro Max, but on the other hand, it's January. There's a reason why this is seen as the worst time of year to launch a big new product in the West, right after the holidays when people are done disposing of any disposable income they have left, and especially this year as the coronavirus situation has taken several turns for the worse in recent weeks, and the knock-on effect that's had on global economies. You don't have to be an economic genius to see how these three factors will likely combine to produce much weaker demand for the S21. But there are some other problems that are very Samsung specific. The two smaller models, despite their flashy new design, are pretty iterative upgrades based on what we know so far, and the smaller one in particular has to compete with the very similar looking S20 Fan Edition, a great phone in its own right that shares a similar design and similar plastic back panel. So imagine one of those phones costs $849 and the other could be had recently for as little as $550 in the US. While the S21 should be more powerful and take slightly better photos, the average person who doesn't obsess over spec sheets would rightly ask what they're really getting for that extra $300. The S21 Ultra, conversely, is the most compelling phone of the trio based on what we know so far. The Ultra's big selling point, aside from just being big, is its camera system. Alongside the next-gen 108MP main camera and the ultra-wide, it's set to pack 3x and 10x optical telephoto cameras with bigger pixels compared to the last generation. So this could really be one of the best camera phones of 2021. That's a huge deal for mobile photography, but that's also part of the problem for the S21 Ultra. People take photos when they go places, when they see people, and guess what we're not doing a whole lot of right now? That's not going to change between now and January 14th. So what could Samsung do to push S21 sales even at these quite high launch prices and with this not so great release period? Well, the first thing to point out is most people don't buy phones outright, so the monthly pricing will be up to the carriers, and in the US there's a long track record of generous early discounts by the operators to pique interest in big new phone launches. The way you experience paying for your expensive new phone for most people is not a big lump payment of $1,000 or more. Samsung has offered very generous trade-in deals for existing Galaxy owners in the past to keep them in the Samsung ecosystem, so I'd expect some pretty high-priced offers for owners of the S10 series in particular, as well as of course the iPhone. We've even seen ridiculous situations in the past where it was possible to buy certain phones new and then trade them into Samsung at a profit when you buy a new Galaxy. And in some countries, Samsung even has annual upgrade plans, where you pay monthly and get the new hotness every year, so a small number of folks will just get an S30 as part of that deal. David Ruddock of Android Police had a great editorial up around the time of the Note 20 Ultra launch about how it was just a bad phone for that particular moment, through no fault of Samsung's. And I think the same will be true of the S21 series when it arrives. None of the incentives I mentioned a few moments ago are going to do much against the current global backdrop. While it's likely the S21 will get a more lukewarm reception than previous Galaxies, and that sales will be slow to start, we equally shouldn't write off these phones. There's a lot of 2021 to come after January 14th, and as things return to normal later in the year, there's a better chance of people actually wanting to buy a flagship phone and actually having the means to do so. That's it for now. Hit the comments, let us know what you think of the Galaxy S21 series pricing considering the specs and features of these devices, and let us know if you plan on buying one. Be sure to subscribe to Android Central here on YouTube so you don't miss out upcoming hands-on coverage of these phones. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.